Representative Manning for her statement.
Thank you so much, Chairman Joyce, Ranking Member Cuellar, and members of the subcommittee. I am deeply grateful for your leadership on this committee, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify before you today. I'm here as the proud co-chair of the House Bipartisan Task Force for Combating Anti-Semitism, which I chair together with Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey and 6 other co-chairs on both sides of the aisle, including House Appropriations Committee Chairwoman Kay Granger and Vice-Ranking Member Grace Meng. I would like to urge the members of the subcommittee to continue your strong record of bipartisan support by increasing funding for the Department of Homeland Security's Nonprofit Security Grant Program in fiscal year 2025. As you know, in the wake of the October 7th Hamas terrorist attack against Israel, we have seen a dramatic increase of anti-Semitic hatred, a heightened threat environment for the Jewish institutions and places of worship in the United States. The Anti-Defamation League has recorded a 360% increase in anti-Semitic incidents in the United States in the 3 months since October 7th. The Department of Homeland Security's Nonprofit Security Grant Program, the NSGP, is the single most effective resource for the Jewish community to protect its institutions and our communities from harm. Synagogues, Jewish community centers, Jewish schools, and many other faith-based and nonprofit institutions rely on this critical funding to keep them safe. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the NSGP enables DHS to support facility hardening and other operational and physical security enhancements for nonprofit organizations that may be at risk of attack. DHS also continues to refine the grant processes to streamline the NSGP application process through enhanced training, new methods of technical assistance, and engagements with rural and underserved communities to ensure they're aware of the purpose and requirements of this grant program. This critical program has directly benefited communities in our congressional districts across the country. Given the dramatic rise in anti-Semitism in recent months, it was deeply disappointing that the vital funding in this program was cut by $30.5 million in the final FY24 negotiated bill for Congress passed last month instead of being increased. This 10% cut from the previous year's enacted level comes as the security needs of our communities outstrip demands. As Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas testified to Congress in November, the Nonprofit Security Grant Program is tremendously oversubscribed. The demand for these funds from large and small institutions of all faiths far exceeds the amount of funding that we have. I believe we should pair increasing funding for the NSGP with other enhancements to improve efficiency. That is why the Countering Anti-Semitism Act, a new bipartisan bicameral legislation I introduced this week, would require the FEMA administrator to ensure that the agency has sufficient resources and personnel needed to carry out the Nonprofit Security Grant Program. I also want to reject a recent despicable effort by some extreme far-left groups that falsely claim to speak for the Jewish community to undermine the long-standing bipartisan support for this critical programming, claiming that it provides an insidious cover for the systemic violence caused by the Department of Homeland Security. Nothing could be further from the truth. This security-focused competitive grant program helps protect Americans of every religion and background from threats. We must not let fringe, far-left groups like these endanger the safety and security of our Jewish day schools, synagogues, and other institutions. That is why we desperately need your help. I respectfully request that in the upcoming fiscal year, the subcommittee approve funding of $500 million for the Nonprofit Security Grant Program. We must urgently pass the bipartisan Senate-passed National Security Supplemental, which included $400 million in emergency funding for the NSGP. Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, Thank you for your work on this committee throughout your time in Congress and your help to fight the scourge of anti-Semitism. I'm grateful for your time today. I look forward to working together with you and members of both parties to better protect the Jewish community and counter anti-Semitism and hate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and I know how important those are. We certainly used them in our community as well. Representative Van Drew is next.